Today's edition of Mac Voices is sponsored by Drobo, a family of safe, expandable, yet simple-to-use storage arrays. Drobos are designed to protect your important data forever. This holiday season, give someone a Drobo to keep all their files and memories safe forever. And by Smile, the makers of world-class software like PDF Pen for Mac, PDF Pen Pro for Mac, PDF Pen for iPhone and iPad, PDF Pen Scan Plus for iPhone and iPad, Text Expander for Mac, and Text Expander for iPhone and iPad. Learn more about all their great products at smilesoftware.com. Welcome to the MacJury on Mac Voices. This is a talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is Holiday Gift Guide Lucky number 7. Just when you thought your shopping was over, we have a panel to send you back out to the stores or back to Amazon or wherever it is that you're going to shop and get some really cool, unique gifts. Sounds like a pretty good build-up, doesn't it? For those of you who may be joining us for the very first time, just a quick review of the rules, which there really aren't any. We encourage the guests to do something tech-oriented. Usually, if it has a power button, it qualifies, but they're by no means required to have a power button. And also, we ask that they not repeat anything from the prior panels, which, given that this is number 7, they've had a lot of their picks taken already. So we're going to see how it goes with them. So let's find out who's here, and then we'll get to it. I'm going to work from left to right on my screen just to keep things straight. First up, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Chuck Tournous.
Oh, am I first on left to right? I can't see that way on my screen. Well, thank you very much.
Yes, good to have you, Chuck.
I'm down in the center here on my own Skype.
Yeah.
Because on my laptop, the world revolves around me. Hi, everybody. I'm Chuck Tournous. You can find me most often these days on Macworld, macworld.com, and I still do the occasional bit on the Mac Observer, macobserver.com. And, of course, if you ever want to just follow my ramblings. I'm on Twitter at Chuck Tournous, but the test is you have to know how to spell that.
Well, we'll help them pass the test because we'll have links in the show notes, Chuck.
Oh, okay. Just Google, how do you spell?
Hey, it's good to have you. We've been trying to connect here for some time on different things, and between our schedules, we can never get together. So I'm delighted to have you.
I'm delighted to be here and not in an airport. So this is a wonderful treat. Thank you for having me.
Great. Next up, Mr. David Ginsburg, who has been here a few times before, and it's always good to have him back. David, welcome.
Hello, Chuck. I'm glad to be here as always. I don't know if I should tell everybody where I'm from. I'm currently president of the Chicago Suburban Chicago Apple Users Group, and I also can be found on Twitter at DaveG65, and do IT tech support for a big insurance company, and very, very much a Mac enthusiast, as most people know. And of course, I spoke at MacStock earlier this year as well.
Great. Well, it's good to have you as always, and I'm going to be visiting virtually your group. I think it's in February.
In February, yeah.
And you all. Well, and I want to give you guys a big nod because you sent me a very, very nice speaker package that says, okay, this is what we have, this is what we expect, this is when we start, this is when we stop. And it's like, I wish every user group would do that because it makes it so much easier.
I'll give a big props to Becky Booth. She just became our vice president actually just this past month, and she handles all of our sessions during our meetings, and she does a wonderful job. So I can definitely give her a lot of the credit for that.
Vice President David, she's breathing down your neck.
I don't know about that, but we'll see.
Well, it's good.
It's a great group, and we enjoy it. So,
yeah.
Thanks.
Last but absolutely not least, Mr. Joe Kissell is back. Joe, I haven't talked to you in forever.
Yeah, well, I have to, every once in a while, I have to take a break from talking about books to actually write books. So that's happening. And if you would like to read some of the things I've written, you can go to takecontrolbooks.com or joeontech.net, and you can follow me on Twitter at Joe Kissell. And you have to figure out how to spell that, too.
Not nearly as challenging as Tournous.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's good to have you too, as always. This is a fun time of year, and it just feels like the party here keeps going on as we do these gift guide shows. So with that, I'm hoping nobody steals my picks because I'm having a harder and harder time coming up with things. But Chuck, we'll let you start us off and see if you set the trend and steal a pick.
Sure. I bet nobody else has this pick. So, there's always the aunt who gives you the practical gifts like socks or something for Christmas. So it's not something that's sexy, but it's something that you probably need. So I'm going to do a high-tech version of socks. Not really. Relax. But it is a practical gift. So as some of you may know, because I wrote about it on Macworld, I had a bit of a health scare last spring, and I'm fine now, but it has prompted me to I guess monitor my health a little better than I used to. So I picked up some. I don't want to do it in a low tech way, right? So I'm still a geek. So I want to figure out some high tech ways to do this kind of stuff and make it a little more fun. So I stumbled on a couple pieces. I'll do a twofer here from a company called Moca, MOCA, that takes the stuff that costs hundreds of dollars and has to be wheeled in at your doctor's office and turns it into little tiny things like that connect via Bluetooth. So this is called the Moca Heart. And what it is a gadget that monitors your pulse, so your heart rate, plus what's called your pulse oxygen, the level of oxygen that's in your blood. And for me, that's very important to know. It's drop dead simple. You press a little tiny button on there. You put your thumb on the gizmo, and it syncs to a free app on your iPhone and gives you a readout and tells you what a bunch of different metrics are for your health, and then gives you a score that says, here's where you are in the range, and here's how healthy we think you are based on that information. Syncs up with the Apple Health app, so you can trend things over time. And like I said, the easier that this kind of stuff is to do, the more likely you are to do it. And that's very important when you're monitoring your health. So that sells for $150, a little pricey. But another gadget from the same company, Moca, is called the Moca Cuff. And we've all been in, either your doctor's office or a Walmart where you have these giant machines that strap to your arms and squeeze you and make your muscles hurt and all that kind of stuff. And the ones in the stores aren't terribly accurate. This is a tiny little thing, doesn't even go on your arm, it goes on your wrist. And like the Moca Heart, it syncs via Bluetooth to an app on your phone, the same Moca Health app, Moca Care app, and lets you monitor your blood pressure to a great degree of accuracy. So you can send this information to your doctor, you can store it on your phone, and the nice thing about it is you don't even have to sync it anywhere. If your phone's not handy, it'll store up to 99 readings right on the device itself. Very fast, just takes a few seconds, and you know where you stand health-wise. So those are the practical things, and I'll get them out of the way right now.
Very nice, very nice.
And the price on this is $70 normally, but through the end of the month, it's $50. So still time to send as a gift to somebody and save a little money.
First of all, Chuck, we're certainly glad you're okay. Not something I wanted to say on the show until you brought it up. So, but go ahead. How do you find this comparing, especially the heart one, with what the Apple Watch gives you out of the box?
The Apple Watch is, if you read the article, one of the things that I credited with convincing me that I had a health issue that I needed to take care of right away. It's fairly accurate once it settles down. But I do find that the Apple Watch bounces around a little bit. You can get a real high reading for a couple seconds and it'll drop low. You sort of have to wait until it flattens out. And, well, not flattens out. That would be bad for a heartbeat, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Until it kind of settles and gets more accurate. But you can still use that for your heartbeat. The other two devices will tell you your heart rate, but the more important things they do are tell you the pulse ox level in your blood in the case of the Moca Heart, and your blood pressure in the case of the Moca Cuff, neither of which the Apple Watch will do.
Got it. Good. I'm not sure, but I don't think we've had a health-related pick in all the panels. So you have a first on your hands. Good job.
Oh, good. Thank you.
David, round one.
All right. I checked the list twice, and I did not see any mention of the Apple TV. Did I not?
You did not.
All right. All right. That's crazy. Awesome. I guess that was crazy. I thought for sure someone would have offered that as a gift. Apple's really come a long way with the Apple TV. You know, it's in its 4th generation now, and I'm really impressed with a lot of the things that it's done. I think just recently they just announced they're joining up with partners for single sign-on for cable providers, so you'll be able to go on and sign into all the different accounts with your different networks, which was pretty awesome. They also added a great remote control on the iPhone, and that works really well, and it syncs quite nicely. And the price is not too bad. I ended up picking up a second one this year. I had the 3rd gen, and I just said, you know what, I'm gonna go out and let's get a second one, because you get spoiled when you use the first one. So price wise, it's not too terribly bad. I think it's $149 for the 32 gig, and I think it's $199 for the 64 gig. I find the 32 gig model should be more than sufficient for your needs, and you can game with it. A lot of podcasters are on there. You can use podcasts. I'll give a shout out to Don McAllister. He just created his app not too long ago on the Apple TV and on iOS. Amazing application that allows you to be able to look at his shows through his podcast network. And there's all kinds of things you can do with it. It's a gaming platform too, which is a lot of fun. So, but you can't beat the Apple TV. I'm sure all of you can agree to that too as well.
Is there anyone on the panel who doesn't have an Apple TV? I didn't think so.
I didn't think so either.
Yeah. Is there anybody on the panel that doesn't have 2? No, never mind.
I have 3.
Yeah, I figured that there would be multiples here somewhere. All right, good. It's always nice to have an Apple product show up in the picks. Joe, you have a reputation for kind of bringing some really unusual things to the party. What are you going to start with this year?
Well, I will bring something unusual to the party, but not for my first pick. For my first pick, I'm going to actually recommend a device that plugs in and has a power button that most people have heard of. So I was looking over the list of things that previous jurors had recommended, and one of the things was the Eero mesh router, which is great. So mesh routers are kind of the new thing. They allow you to have Wi-Fi in different parts of your house without running a lot of Ethernet cables, and really easy to set up and switch between the routers and so forth. So there are a bunch of these, and the Eero is one of them. And there have been a number of articles recently, like there was one on the Wirecutter and just a whole bunch of different sites comparing the different mesh routers and which one is the best for which kind of person. So although the Eero is great, it's not my pick. My pick for a mesh router, the one I actually want to get for my house, is the Orbi. The Orbi is made by Netgear. And it's the same kind of thing. It works very similarly to the Eero. And you can buy a pack of 2. You can buy add-on routers for another, $250 each. The pack of 2 costs like $400 or a little bit less. And you can add on more depending on how big your house is and the configuration of your space and so forth. And you basically pretty much plug them in, do a very quick configuration, and poof, your whole house is blanketed with Wi-Fi. What I like particularly about the Orbi that the Eero doesn't have is that each one of the units has 3 Ethernet LAN ports. And the reason this is significant to me is that my incoming internet connection, like my cable router, is right here in my office. My living room is way over that away, and my living room has a TV that has Ethernet, no Wi-Fi, a DVR that has Ethernet, no Wi-Fi, and a Blu-ray player that has Ethernet, no Wi-Fi. So if I put one of these gadgets over there and another one over here, I should be able to have nice, strong Wi-Fi in both places, with the additional benefit that all of my plug-in Ethernet gadgets over there in that other room can plug right into the router, which I could not do if I had the Eero. So I could give you sort of a longer spiel, but basically that's my biggest reason for preferring the Orbi, and I'm really looking forward to trying it out.
I'm looking forward to it, and I did not know that about the Orbi versus the Eero. So you may have swayed my eventual buying decision, because I can think of a couple situations where having that ability to have an Ethernet connection out as opposed to in would be very, very convenient in different parts of the house.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, shoot, Joe, you just cost me money. Round one. All right, so I'm gonna go with a piece of software for round one. One thing that everybody does, I believe, is watches video on their iPad, but you don't always have the ability to stream things. So sometimes you just want to move video from your Mac to your iPad. And it's not always easy because a lot of times you have to jump through hoops with iTunes and go through all that. I'm talking about a piece of software called Walter from Softorino. And there's a new version called Walter 2. The name, as strange as it sounds, was inspired by the Walter White character on Breaking Bad. Still haven't quite figured out how that works. But anyway, this is simple. And the new version will move video from your Mac to your iPad either over Lightning cable, if you have it hardwired connected, or over Wi-Fi. All you have to do is make sure the two devices are on the same network. Walter will find your iPad, or your iPhone for that matter, and start transcoding the files. What makes it extra cool, though, with the new version is that it will go out and find all the artwork for it, any summaries of, if they're TV shows, obviously the episode summary, or if it's a movie, the movie summary, all the artwork and everything. So what you end up with on your iPad or your iPhone is this beautiful video file that looks like it was purchased from iTunes, that it was absolutely perfect. It's even over Wi-Fi, it's pretty fast. But perhaps the absolute best thing is you can throw pretty much any video format at Walter. Just drag it on, and it does the transcoding and sends it over. So we're talking MKV files, AVI files, QuickTime movie files, pretty much anything you can think of that you're going to come across in reasonably common areas. It has no problem with and will move over. So it's from Softorino. It's about $20. I believe at this point, maybe a little more at this point. But it's well worth it if you need to move video over to your iPad. And of course, by the way, it will work with music too, if you would prefer not to involve iTunes in the process. But I use it for video probably on a weekly basis, and it has given me very, very, very few problems, and usually those were related to connectivity on my network. So Walter from Softorino. Check it out.
Yeah, Chuck, I'll add. I also had Walter. That's a great program, and I bought it probably around that same time you probably did. And Walter 2 was out, and I was kind of on the fence because it was a little pricey to do an upgrade to it, but they were offering 50% off. But yeah, that program is amazing, and I think I agree with you 100% that it made it a lot easier to get your videos right from your Mac to your iPad or your iPhone.
Well, it's one of those, David, it's one of those one-trick ponies that I'm sure they could build a lot of different options in if they wanted to, but they've resisted the urge. They've just kept it as it is, and as a result, I use it all the time. So could they squeeze it down farther, tighter so you can get more movies on? Yeah, maybe, but I really am not interested in that. I just want to drag the stuff over and have it ready to go when I'm ready to go. So
right.
Smile and their amazing suite of productivity software is sponsoring today's edition of Mac Voices. Smile helps you get more done with PDF Pen, available in various flavors for Mac and iOS, PDF Pen Scan Plus for iOS, and Text Expander for Mac and iOS. Get all the details at smilesoftware.com. The holidays are here, and that means lots of things: shopping, dining out with friends, and travel. It also means being busier than at any other time of the year, losing receipts, trying to remember where you parked, and sometimes even figuring out what your name is. PDF Pen Scan Plus can't help you with all of those things, but they can make life a little more organized as you endeavor to keep track of all those little slips of paper. With PDF Pen Scan Plus, you have a portable document scanner right in your pocket. Take that extra couple seconds and scan your receipts before you leave the store or the restaurant. You have an automatic record of what you've spent and where you've spent it, when you spent it, and what you got for your money. That means returns become easier because you never lose a receipt, and you'll never forget to put that dinner on the expense account, if it belongs there, of course. PDF Pen Scan Plus does all the work. The camera will scan your page and crop it automatically. You can run optical character recognition on the scan no matter where you are, or later if you wish. You can scan multiple images into a single document if you need to group something with something else, and rotate images to make them easier to read. Then, when you're done doing as much or as little as you need to, your document can be exported to Dropbox or iCloud for safekeeping. But not just dumped there. You can organize them in folders if you're so inclined. Of course, that also means that your documents can be then edited with PDF Pen or PDF Pen Pro on your Mac. It may seem silly because you'll never lose that receipt, right? Right. Just like you never lost those receipts from last holiday season and got stuck with that sweater that you now hide at the bottom of the drawer. Do yourself a favor and get PDF Pen Scan Plus today on the iOS App Store. It will make your holiday life a whole lot easier. That's PDF Pen Scan Plus, one of the amazing productivity utilities from Smile, the makers of world-class software. Happy holidays, and thanks to Smile for being the longest-running sponsor of MacVoices. Okay, round one. As I would have expected, diverse picks, no question about it. So Chuck, get us started with round two.
You got it. So I am a bass player, and the problem with being a bass player is that no one wants to hear you play by yourself, except perhaps your mother. Guitar players can go by the fire and strum and play songs. Harmonica players are always in big demand. If you can play the ukulele, you're the hit of the party. Nobody wants to hear me play a walking bass line. But I still like to play, and I'm not in a band right now, so I like to keep my chops fresh. I like to practice, and I find it very enjoying. A glass of wine and playing some bass by myself is a great way to unwind after a tough work week. So I've become a big fan of a company called IK Multimedia, which makes the iRig series of interfaces that you can use for bass or a guitar. The latest one now is the iRig HD2. So this is no longer analog. The original gadget was analog, plugged into your headphone jack. This now plugs into your Lightning port, or one of the advantages of the two is that it comes with a USB cable, so that you can also plug it into your Mac and play directly into your Mac, and that's very handy. It has a higher sample rate than the original iRig HD, I can hear it very clearly. I mean, I play with this thing, and the sound is just pristine. So when you couple this with iRig's free, or you can upgrade to a paid version, an iOS app called Amplitude, gives you a variety of different amp sounds that you can use, or stomp boxes that you can add onto it. A nice thing about it is that you can import songs from your iTunes library, so you can play along with those, and that's where it really becomes a lot of fun for me, because I can, look up the tabs to a song or the chords to a song, or one that I know that I've played in with bands before, play along with the recording, and the quality of the sound makes it sound like you are part of the band, and it's just lovely, works perfectly, and makes for a really great evening. So yeah, if you have a musician, a guitar player or a bass player on your holiday list, it's well worth your consideration. One of the other improvements on the iRig HD2, in addition to the ability to plug it into your Mac and the higher bitrate quality, is that now you can also pass it along to an amplifier. So you can use all the sound effects that you can get through Amplitude or GarageBand to add lots of different sounds and tones to your instrument, and then pass that right out to an amplifier. So if you can actually use this on a gig now, is where I'm going with that. And it's very high quality and gives you options that would cost you thousands and thousands of dollars otherwise. This will run you $100, but if you play a lot, and music, the sound quality of the music that you're playing means anything to you, again, well worth the price.
Okay. Musician pick. Chuck, are there any, I'm serious about this, are there any decent all bass albums out there, or bass-oriented albums for people to go and maybe develop an appreciation for what you do?
So sure, some of the big, one of the biggest bass players ever was a guy named Jacko Pastorius. He passed away several years ago, but he was just a phenomenal, a monster musician, well worth listening to. He was in, I think he was in Weather Report, and then he had his own band for a while. So he's just terrific. There's also a young woman named Tal Wickenfeld, I believe is her name, from Australia, who plays the bass like nothing I've ever seen before. She turns it into a melodic instrument, and her fingers are just lightning fast, and you really have to hear her to believe it. So either of those would be great, and something definitely to aspire to. Or you can also listen and watch the Macworld All-Star Band recordings that you made, Chuck, and you can hear us in all our glory.
And there's a lot of glory there to be had, no question. Lots of glory. Yeah. Okay, great.
We had fun.
Hopefully we will have fun again. You will have fun again. You will have fun by us listening to you. Never mind. Get me out of this, David. Pick number 2.
We're on hiatus. We're not done.
Well, my pick was, I know a lot of discussion's been on the mesh networks and the mesh type routers, but there might be people out there who can't afford it, or hadn't decided to jump into it yet. With the advent of the Apple routers being more or less being discontinued, I think a lot of people are starting to look to see if a different router's out there. So I decided a little while ago I got this router here, which is the Netgear Nighthawk series, which is the AC3200 I got, which is the X6 model, and I thought it looked like a great choice. A while back, Dave Hamilton had talked about QoS with the bandwidth packaging and all that. So I said, I want to jump into this because I'm a little concerned what's going to go happen with those routers. So this router is amazing. I've had it hooked up in my house for about 6 months now. It's got 6 antennas. It's got 3 different bands that are available. And it's rated for a very large home. I don't have a super large home, but the coverage in my house has been pretty amazing. And it has 3 bands. It has one 2.4 gigahertz, and it has 2 of the 5 gigahertz bands, which works really great. And it's a 5 gigabit Wi-Fi stream, so it really works really well. You can manage the router, which you could also with the Apple routers as well with the Airport app, but they have a Genie app that does the same thing. You can get on and manage your system, which is amazing, and it really works really well. It also has 4 Ethernet ports, as well as it has a USB 3 and USB 2 port that allows you to hook up different drives, and pretty amazing. I think for the price, I think it's a good choice for those who are not looking for the really extreme router.
Good. I'm especially interested in what you were saying about the Genie and the software, because that seems to be one of the big differentiators and a pain point for all routers. Are you finding that pretty much approachable for mere mortals?
I really think it is, and I'm just looking to see if I have the app here real quick. Yeah, maybe I can bring it up on the camera. And that's the interface. It might be hard to see, but it's very simple. See how simple it is as far as being able to get to all the different settings very easily. So in my opinion, I think the Netgear really hit it out of the park with the simplicity of being able to access your network very easily. Like you say, for mere mortals.
Good. Okay, terrific. Nice to have a little selection.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, definitely.
Joe, is this the moment when we see something strange?
Well, I don't know how strange. One of the things that I always like to do is recommend stocking stuffers. And another thing I always like is adhesives. So last year, I love adhesives. Like if I go to a hardware store, I can spend an hour in the adhesives aisle. I just have this fascination with glue and tape, and anyway. So last year I recommended Sugru. Right, this moldable putty stuff that you can use to fix anything. Really cool. I've used it for a number of different things this year. This is called Laser Bond. This is basically super glue, but it's like a super glue gel, and you have a little needle-like applicator. The difference is that unlike ordinary super glue, it doesn't harden until you zap it with this with this UV light on the end. So it does. You wanted things with an on button, so there it is. And it only takes 3, 4, 5 seconds just shining this light on the glue to get it to harden. And I have used this many times this year to repair things that I couldn't figure out any other way to fix. Now, a qualification is that, in order for this light to cure the glue, it has to be able to reach it. So you can't like glue two opaque things together and shine the light on and hope for it to work. The light has to be able to reach the glue somehow. But as long as that can happen, this is really cool because it gives you time to move or position things, and it can fill in gaps and holes and things and sort of build things up in ways that ordinary super glue can't. And then when you're ready, it's all ready to go. Just zap for a couple of seconds and it hardens. Now, this stuff, this is generic. This is Laser Bond, laser with a Z, and this costs about $10. There's another one called Bondic, which is sort of a little fancier, more expensive, and there are other cheaper brands, but they're all basically the same stuff. It's super glue type stuff in a tube and a little light. So whichever kind you get isn't that important. But if you like to repair things, and especially if you like the combination of adhesives and things that blink, boy, this is the gadget for you. And it makes a great stocking stuffer.
So, Joe, let me understand this correctly. It absolutely requires the light to cure. So if I leave it if I put, say, a broken plate together, it's not going to cure overnight or in a week. Yeah. It has to have the light.
Has to have the light. Now, my dentist often puts stuff in or on my teeth that requires a UV light to be shined on it for a few seconds for it to cure. And so I was already sort of familiar with this concept from fairly extensive dental work, but this is kind of, don't use this on your teeth. But this is kind of the same idea, a UV curing glue for little home repairs.
I didn't know such a thing existed. So now I do. Thank you, Joe.
Stick with me.
Yes. We'll have to do a show on adhesives sometime.
Oh, yes, please.
Oh, boy. I just got myself into something.
Well, the places I could go, but I won't.
Yeah, no, please don't. Please don't. Okay, so my second pick is kind of practical and I think in a way a little bit timely, because as the new MacBook Pro has come out, there's quite a controversy surrounding all the dongles that you're going to have to carry around to connect legacy things to this new device. And I don't know about you, but I'm already carrying around a lot of dongles even before the new MacBook Pro, along with cables and connectors and everything. So there are a number of solutions out there. Some are a little more organized, some are less organized. I want to recommend the BagSmart Travel Organizer for electronic accessories. This is $11. It's a simple little pouch that zippers shut. It's got elasticized bands inside to hold things in place. It's got a little mesh pocket for something maybe a little larger, like one of the small USB-C docks that we're seeing come out from companies like Satechi. But I find it nice because as much as I like something like the Cocoon Organizer, everything there is exposed and it's out. And occasionally, if I'm overstuffing my bag, which happens more often than it should, things catch and you're trying to push them down in, and then they pop off the cocoon, and it just becomes a bit of a mess. This way, I can slide things into this, zip it up, and drop it in a pouch on my backpack. I've got it all there. In fact, sometimes I end up carrying around things that I really shouldn't, but they become useful. I was at a presentation a couple weeks ago. They were having trouble getting a computer, not a Mac, connected to a projector, and I opened up my little bag of tricks, pulled out the right connector, and saved the day. And I ended up getting a free class out of the deal, so it really worked well. But yeah, this too is borderline on the lines of a stocking stuffer, but I think it's very appropriate right now if you need a home for all your dongles with your new Mac Pro. That'll help keep you organized.
Cool.
Okay, so that's two. We're halfway through. So this is about the time that things start to get really interesting, because now all the preliminaries are out of the way, and now they're going to bring out the big guns. And I'm just waiting for Chuck to recommend like an embroidered loincloth or something from his adventures in the wild. Am I going to see that, Chuck?
It's actually what I'm wearing. If you'd like me to stand up, I can model it for you.
No.
No.
Now I'm really sorry I brought the whole thing up.
Yeah, I thought you would be. I'm probably going to get more normal as we go in here, because there are some cool things that are going on right now that I like a lot and that I think people should know about. So, we all know with every iteration of the iPhone, the camera gets better, the megapixels go up, the capture chip gets bigger. We have now quad tone flashes on it and all that. The lenses let more light in, which makes low light photography much better and enables things like the bokeh effect from the iPhone 7 Plus. But the lenses are limited, right? You still have sort of a fixed field of view on the iPhone camera lens, and for that reason, for me, it doesn't really replace the point and shoot or the DSLR that I usually carry, especially when you're doing high adventure things or you're doing landscape photography and you really want that kind of wide angle feel. So a company called olloclip makes really wonderful lens stuff for the iPhone, and has for years. And like the iPhone camera, their product just keeps getting better and better every year as well. The latest model that they have right now is that I'm going to recommend is the olloclip Core lens kit for the iPhone 7. This one comes with sort of a standard wide-angle lens and then a fisheye lens that gives you this really beautiful panoramic view. Not quite panoramic, but a wider view of things, and it's wonderful for landscape stuff. It really just captures things so nicely. What they've done, which is very smart, though, is they've made so you can actually jiggle the lens a little bit now, and that's not a manufacturing defect. That's by design. And what it does is allow you to use the olloclip lenses on your phone, even if you have, say a screen protector on there, because the tolerances were usually so tight on these things that you either had to put an adapter in it or you had to use it with their case. So this gives you a little bit more flexibility. The lens quality is terrific. You can use other lenses as well. They kind of pop out here if you want to buy a telephoto lens or something else to put in its place. The lenses are now arranged so that in addition to the rear facing, is it rear or front? I can never get it straight. The one away from you cover up, and then the other side will cover the selfie camera, so you can take enhanced selfies of yourself, if that's not too redundant. So it's really great. You take it off, and it goes into this little clip with a carabiner on it, so you can keep it with your keys or attach it to your belt loop or whatever, so you don't lose it like I tend to do for things. And this kit goes for, I think this is I want to say this is $100 too, but I forgot to write it down. That seems to be where most of my gift choices are leaning right now. But great for the photographer on your list. And if you don't have an iPhone 7, they still have models for just pretty much every other iPhone on the market. olloclip.
Yeah, I have not had my hands on the new one, but I've read with great interest about the flexibility you were talking about, Chuck, because I know it's hard to believe, as thin as those screen protectors are, that an olloclip would not fit with the older models, but that's how tight the tolerances were. So
yeah,
kudos to their engineering team for figuring out a way around that problem.
Right. Because you want those tight tolerances. It's what puts the olloclip lens in exactly the right position for the optics to work well with the existing built-in camera lens on it. So you do need those tolerances. But yeah, you're right. It was ingenious how they figured out a way to work around the situations that people have with their phones.
Yeah. Olloclip's one of those companies you don't want to bet against when it comes to figuring things out, because they've just, if you go back and look at their history, they've just constantly improved, iteration by iteration, solving challenges, problems, things people didn't like. So, yeah. Good pick.
And I'll just caution you, because you can find cheaper alternatives out there, but on something like a lens, the craftsmanship is really critical. So I would pay the extra couple bucks and make sure you get the olloclip.
Agreed. David, that takes us to you for round 3.
All right. I think Joe and I are on a very same wavelength here in the different products that we picked so far. I picked a router, he picked the router, and now
Both
I'm picking
Netgear, by the way.
What's that?
Both Netgear routers, by the way.
Exactly. So we stayed in the same brand. Well, I don't know what this one is. This is a toolkit. I know everybody knows iFixit.com. There's a great website you go to, and they give you all kinds. And I'm sure, Joe, you've been on there a million times, especially helping with your books. So I bought this toolkit a long time ago. This is actually the old one. And I noticed the other day they have a new one. It's called the Pro Tech Toolkit, and this toolkit is amazing. It's got all the drivers you ever need with the screwdrivers. If you have to open up your MacBook to change out memory or go in at any time like that, it's got what do they call it? The spudgers, I believe that is they call those, to be able to open up your iPhone if you have to. And it's got all the other stuff that you have for the person who wants to have a toolkit and very simple ways of being able to open things and working on things, tweezers and all kinds of great tools. And I really like this kit, and I think it was very well put together. And it's not that terribly expensive, like $70 for the whole kit, but you can't go on their site and buy other different kits if you didn't want everything. But very, very, very handy kit. I thought it was going to be a good choice for someone looking for a toolkit for the Christmas season.
Good choice. So you're advocating buying new devices and cracking them open.
I don't know if I'm advocating. I think it's nice to have a toolkit just in case. You never know. I mean, this toolkit is probably not going to be for the faint of heart. It's probably be for more folks that are going to explore something like that. But I think for the most part, this toolkit will come in handy for the small screwdrivers. You always need those. So.
Yeah. Okay, good. A practical pick. For a second, I was afraid you were going to adhesives, and I've thought this is not going to end well.
That's part of your iPhone, and you lose the little screws. You can't get it back together again. Then you need some adhesive.
Yeah.
There you go. And we know Apple loves putting adhesive on their iPhones.
That's true.
You can probably shine enough light down that little hole just to cure it, just enough. Yeah, good. Okay. Don't try this at home, folks. Please, yeah. Don't write us and tell us you tried this. This is not advocating anything. Joe, let's see how you do this time.
Alrighty. So, Chuck, you were talking about the new MacBook Pros. They have a little USB port, the USB-C ports, and they need all the dongles. So you and I are now on the same wavelength because I use a lot of little flash drives for sometimes for backups, sometimes for put installers on other little things, SneakerNet, whatever I need them for. So I was in the market for a new little flash drive, and I realized, all of the computers currently in the house have the old style USB-A ports, but the new MacBook Pro that I'm hoping to get before long will have USB-C ports. Surely somebody must have a flash drive that works on both. And of course they exist. So the one that I have my eye on is made by Kingston. It's the Kingston Digital Data Traveler Micro Duo. And they come in sizes ranging from 16 gigabytes for $9 to 128 gigabytes for $47. And it's a tiny little flash drive that has a USB-A port on one end, and flip it over. On the other end, there's the USB-C port, and has a little plastic cap that you can put on whichever end you're not using just to protect it. But that's it. It's just a dual-headed flash drive, and you can stick it in an older computer and copy stuff to or from it, and then stick it in a newer computer, copy stuff to or from it, and you're good both ways. So it's a sort of backwards compatible or future-proofing device, depending on how you want to look at it. And certainly my next flash drive, perhaps all the flash drives I buy for the next few years will be of that sort.
I'm with you, Joe. I did not know these existed. In fact, if I'd have thought about it for 10 minutes, I probably would have realized that it's something that should be out already by now, but it didn't even occur to me. That's great, because that gives you the backward compatibility with your existing devices, but also moves you into the future.
Right on.
Okay, it cost me money again.
Sorry.
This is an expensive show. Okay, so looking at my list, I think I'm going to go with something just a little self-serving. I don't know how many or what podcast apps you use, but if you are not satisfied with your current podcast app, if you're using Apple's podcast app, I would definitely recommend that you go to something else a little more fully featured. I want to recommend Downcast. Now, there's some great podcatchers out there, but I prefer Downcast for a couple reasons. First of all, it will handle both audio and video podcasts, and I subscribe to both. So there are a couple things out there that are very, very good, and I'd probably use them if they could handle video, but they can't quite handle video. So Downcast will. But almost as important, though, Downcast has a cornucopia of settings that you can use, but they implement them in such a way that they aren't burdensome. And the kind of settings I'm talking about are settings for individual shows. So maybe, and especially with regard to speed. So let's just say that I have podcast A that I can listen to at 2.5 times and keep up and enjoy. Podcast B, however, the hosts typically talk fast, so I can only listen to it at 1.5 times. Well, I can set Downcast up so that whatever the podcast is, it's playing at my preferred speed. That doesn't mean I'm locked in. I can change it while I'm in the podcast, but I'm not constantly having to bounce back and forth and say, oh, which show am I listening to? And so I got to take the speed up or take the speed down. It lets you create playlists. It lets you sync, and there are back and forth. There are versions for the Mac and the iPhone and the iPad, so that if you and it syncs through iCloud. So if you set everything up on all of your devices and you finish watching, say, or listening to a podcast on my Mac, I pick up my iPhone, that podcast is already marked as played and will eventually be deleted. You can set up how many episodes you want to keep of each show, or just set it up to keep all unplayed episodes. I could go on and on because there are just so many features. And if you think it sounds intimidating, it's really not. And if you're a sophisticated podcast listener or somebody that tries to manage your podcasts, manage a lot of podcasts, this is a great way to do it. And in, I guess it's 3 or 4 versions ago now, they upgraded, I believe, the algorithm that governs speeded up playback, and now it works better than it did. So it's pretty easy to go to 2.25 times to 2.5 times with a little practice, and again, depending on the show. So it's very affordable, and I just got to tell you, podcasts are something I listen to every day, commuting and doing other things, and so it's on my actually it's in my dock on my iPhone. So if you need a better podcatcher or are looking for an alternative, go and give this a try. I think you will like it. And of course, MacVoices is where you should start your experimentation.
Of course.
Chuck, I'll add, I absolutely love that app. I have it. It's on my dock too. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing, and it's just so easy to sync all your podcasts in it. But about 63 of them sitting in mine right now. And the other great thing that you didn't mention, I wanted to mention too, is you can back up the file from the podcatcher, so the OPML file, and you could store that file on your iCloud, wherever. And if it happens to lose its memory or whatever, you can just go back and restore that file very easily. So that in itself it gives this the power of what that app can do.
Yeah, and I also should say that it is compatible with CarPlay, so it will show up on your CarPlay device, so you can manage your podcasts in the car as well. There's some restrictions there from Apple, so that the Downcast interface on CarPlay doesn't look quite as sophisticated as it does on your phone itself, but all the essential controls are there, and you won't have any trouble. So I don't see it as representing much of a compromise there. Right. So good little piece of software.
These podcast things sound interesting. What are they?
You're on one now, Chuck. Did you not get the memo?
I thought I was on CNN.
Chuck's News Network.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
That's good.
Thank you. I'll start having T-shirts made.
Good.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid I don't have the budget for James Earl Jones to come on and do that intro. Today's edition of MacVoices is sponsored by Drobo, a family of safe, expandable, yet simple to use storage arrays. Drobos are designed to protect your important data forever. This holiday season, give someone a Drobo to keep all their files and memories safe forever. Starting on Wednesday, December 14th, Drobo will be celebrating the 12 Days of Giving, with prizes from some really great folks who are also friends of ours. Prizes from Seagate, Drobo itself, Tidbits, Smile, Joe on Tech, This Week in Photo, Mac Geek Gab, The Next Track, and a whole lot more. If you enter and win, fantastic. Happy holidays. If you don't, you can still get a little something for yourself or someone you care about by visiting drobostore.com before December 31st and using the discount code MV20 to take 20% off the Drobo 5D, Drobo 5DT, Drobo 5N, and any 8-bay or 12-bay Drobo model. That's a savings of $100 to $800 depending on which model is right for you. Drobo marketing coordinator Alex Herbert and I talked about the 12 Days of Giving and what kinds of things you'll find on Drobo's social media presences. Why is Drobo doing the 12 Days of Giving?
So Drobo's doing the 12 Days of Giving to really just show appreciation for all the Drobo fans and users out there. We just wanted a way to bring joy this holiday season, and we thought this was a great way to do it. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. On Facebook, you can find us just under Drobo, and Twitter as well. Instagram, you can find us under The Real Drobo. On our social platforms, we like to post different educational things. We like to show how other users and businesses are using Drobo and what workflow challenges it solves for them. We also like to post different reviews of our products to give a different perspective. And we also have a photo contest going on right now with Seagate, where you can win a Drobo 5-bay of your choice and 2 6TB Ironwolf NAS Seagate drives. So look on our social media for that. We also post webinars to show how to use Drobo with other applications and setting it up and unboxings and all of that.
So, you need to visit Drobo on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram to get the 12 Days of Giving hashtag, use it, and win yourself something special for the holidays. Or visit drobostore.com, use the discount code MV20, and get 20% off a Drobo 5D, Drobo 5DT, Drobo 5N, or any 8 or 12-bay Drobo. Or do both. 'Tis the season. Happy holidays, and thanks to Drobo for their support of MacVoices. Okay, God, this is going fast. That's 3 rounds. That's 3 full rounds. So that means we've got to finish big, and that puts a little more pressure on everybody. So, Chuck, finish big.
No pressure. No. Okay, so there's an old saying: if you buy a man an Apple Watch strap, he'll have one to wear. Teach him how to buy them, and he'll be set for life. So I'll give you a couple specific picks, but I want to give you one piece of advice. Don't buy your Apple Watch straps from Apple. They're very nice, but they're very overpriced. I found lovely, wonderful substitutes from third parties through Amazon. And the trick with that is to read the reviews. Because people will definitely tell you their opinions of the watch bands they find there. But I've had a lot of luck. There was only, I think I have about 8 or 9 bands now, and I only had to send one back because I didn't like it. So I'll tell you a couple of my favorites, and I'll give you some examples on what I mean by saving money on them. So I love the one of the latest straps that Apple came up with. It's the Nylon band. I don't have it with me to show you right now, but it's $50, and I'm fairly cheap, so I'm not going to spend $50 on a watch band. Even though I spent $500 on the watch, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But there is a company called Elobeth. I'll just take a shot at the pronunciation, Elobeth. And I found them on Amazon, and they have a wonderful representation of the Nylon band. It looks just like Apple's. I worn it in an Apple store and showed it to Apple employees, and they couldn't tell the difference. And this is the one style that I did have to send back a couple times because there were some versions of it where, from different companies, not Elobeth, where the buckle would come loose. They obviously weren't using the glue that Joe recommends because it was pulling apart of the band. So I sent that one back, took another one, wasn't as good. But the Elobeth has held up now for me for months with no sign of wear or tear or coming apart. So I'm very happy with that. Apple will sell you that band for $50. You can get it from Elobeth for $20. So you save a little money right there. Another example is the one that I do have here, and this is the leather loop, which Apple will sell for $150. The version I bought is from a company called Vteyes. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that terribly. It's Vteyes. This is it. I've had this watch band for over a year. It still looks great. Looks pretty much like new. Again, I go to the Apple store because I'm curious, and I compare it to the ones that they sell in the store, and I certainly can't tell the difference, at least not unless it's under a loop or something. Apple's version is $150. This one was $25. So I think that's worth shopping around for. And I used to wear lots of different watches. And since I got the Apple Watch, it's the only watch I wear. So I get my differentiation. I get my my variety by choosing different bands for it. So every time I save money on a band, that's goes towards another band I can buy.
Chuck, I have to ask you about the last one there, the leather loop one, because I tried early on one of the one of the copy leather loops, and found that the magnets were not nearly as strong or as long lasting as the real Apple Watch. But you've had that one for a while, no issues with it.
One of the first ones I bought, and it's very strong. Again, I think the key here is to read the reviews on Amazon and see what other people think of them, because there are vendors out there who are putting out garbage, but there are some that are really, really good. Hoco, Hoco, is another very good vendor. I got a steel watch band from them, and that's been terrific too.
I would like to second your recommendation. I have done exactly what you did. I went to Amazon and found, a purple sport band, because, of course, Apple's not going to sell me purple, but I need purple, and a space gray Milanese loop for, a tiny fraction of what Apple would charge, and I've been very happy with both of them. So, yes, do that.
Okay. And by the way, as a style tip, I have noticed that the sport bands, I'm seeing more and more, especially ladies, but hey, it would fit some of your styles too. They'll take two different color sport bands and mix them.
Yeah,
which actually it's a very interesting look. So I don't know, Joe, purple and yellow, or
it would have to be purple and green, but okay, I'll take it
for the Incredible Hulk.
Sure. the Incredible Hulk, the Joker. I mean, purple and green. Right. Yeah.
Barney.
Barney.
That's more terrifying than the Joker.
That is more terrifying.
Yeah, or the Hulk.
Good pick. Chuck, I'll ask you to make sure you send us links, because what I want to do is link specifically to those watch bands on Amazon so folks know that they're getting what you're recommending.
I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you. David, your turn to finish big.
All right. I am going to finish big here because I just got the memo from Mofi. I love Mofi. Mofi makes amazing cases for the iPhone, and this was a big announcement. They actually came out with their new technology cases, the Juice Pack Air, for the iPhone 7 and the 7 Plus. And what it has is, and the biggest thing it has, is the Charge Force technology. You actually can wirelessly charge the case and the phone by using their technology, as well as I believe there was they're calling it Charge Force is what it is. And you place your Mofi case on a Charge Force power pack, then it wirelessly charges the base, which I thought was pretty cool. And I kind of stepped away from Mofi for a little while. I was starting to, getting kind of, I had the 6S Plus, and the case started to get a little big, and I was like, this is really bulky. So I ended up going back. I went, and I did a lot of changes with the different cases, but they really slimmed this thing down, and it's pretty amazing. And of course, it just came out, so I'm not sure how much availability is going to be for Christmas time. But I highly recommend Mophie. I think they've gone a long way with their battery cases. It's always nice to have that. It's nice to have the battery with you when you're in a pinch. So, but the wireless technology really excites me. I know Apple's been kind of hesitant to get involved with that, but to have this technology is pretty cool.
It's a great pick, and I have not seen this, so I'm very anxious to go and learn a little bit about it. There was a time that I resisted that because it seemed like Mophie, along with a lot of the other cases, they required you to charge using a USB mini plug. Right. And that meant that you couldn't sync it the way you can with a lightning plug. And that was back in the days when I tended to plug my phone into my Mac a lot. Now, honestly, I don't remember the last time I plugged my phone into my Mac. So now may be the time to look at something like this.
Yeah, especially the wireless technology. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. Joe, I saw you shaking your head up and down vigorously.
Well, yes. So the reason I was shaking my head was that I had two picks that I was trying to decide between. And when David presented his suggestion, I immediately knew which one of those two picks I had to present. Okay. Because we have to be on the same wavelength, right? We have to. So on the topic of battery packs and wireless charging, I would like to present the Belkin MFI certified portable valet charger for Apple Watch and iPhone. So this is a little battery pack that will charge your iPhone, as many others do, but it also has the little round magnetic doohickey in it that you can stick your watch on to charge it. So once you have this battery pack with a full charge, you can toss it in your bag, and it will charge your watch up to 8 times without having to itself be recharged. Plus, you can plug your iPhone in or whatever into it and charge with that. Obviously, the iPhone won't be wireless, but your watch will be. So, also a great stocking stuffer and $100. And there are lots of companies that make things like this that look very similar. Belkin's has more power than most of the competitors, and also it's sort of a more trusted name. So, so on that theme, there you go.
Hey Joe, I have a question about that one. That one doesn't require you to use your own Apple Watch charger, right?
Correct. It has a built-in magnetic charging module.
That's great. That's what's turned me off of a lot of the other things on the market, because I don't want, the whole point of that is not to have to unplug your watch cable and bring it with you when you travel. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, absolutely. And now you may have fouled up my last pick. But I'll go with it anyway. No, that's all right. That's all right. I will go with mine anyway. So if you don't mind bringing your cable, or if you have a second cable, I'm going to recommend the Anker 40-watt 4-port USB wall charger with foldable plug. We'll talk about that in a second. First of all, Anker makes great stuff. So they're one of those companies that you can trust, because I think we're all becoming a little more paranoid about exactly what we are plugging our devices into. And if you're not paranoid, you should be. So that's the first thing. Second thing is that this has 4 ports that can charge pretty much anything you're carrying around with you, from an Apple Watch to an iPad Pro. But the third, and the one that is the killer for me, is the foldable plug. No cables, no cords, no external power bricks, no nothing. And you don't have to worry about tearing your backpack or damaging anything else that's in your backpack when you throw this in. I really don't understand why anybody that produces anything mobile anymore has a non-foldable plug. Because it just takes those sharp edges down, smooths everything out, makes it easier to get to. So this one is the one that I throw in my pack for charging, because I can take 2 iPads and an Apple Watch and my phone, plug them all in, and have them charging. Yes, I do understand that it means I've got to carry those cables around, but that's the only compromise here. I really like Joe's device if you're just going to do an iPhone and an Apple Watch, because that means you potentially have only one cable, and you're probably going to carry that one around anyway. So, but if you don't mind carrying a couple extra cables in that pouch I recommended earlier, the Anker, I want to make sure I get it right, Anker 40-watt 4-port USB wall charger with foldable plug. That's my big finish.
All right.
I love Anchor products too, and I've got very similar the brick, and same thing I do with you that you do. It's to have the extra cables, plug everything in, iPad, iPhone, Apple Watch, whatever needs to be plugged in.
Yeah.
It's great to have. When
you realize how many power blocks you're carrying around, this becomes a pretty easy purchase, because inevitably you start going to a hotel and looking for where can you plug 4 different plugs in, and then maybe you're going to carry I can't say it. Brain dead, completely brain
Power
dead.
strip.
Power strip. Thank you,
yeah,
Chuck.
power strip.
And I don't want to carry a power strip and 4 USB blocks and all the other stuff. So, just one quick, easy, simple charging solution.
So, on that note, can I throw out a bonus pick because it relates to what you just talked about?
Sure.
Got time?
Sure.
So a lot of times, I've been spending way too many nights in hotels lately, and I'm finding that very often the outlet is not in a convenient spot by the bed. So what I've been doing is I got it's not an iPad. This is a Solar Tab solar battery pack, right? So I use this a lot for camping, for outdoor stuff. It's very efficient, charges very quickly, but it holds a whole ton of power. It's got a huge battery in here. Any place I can fit my iPad, I can fit this because it just slips in next to it. But what I use it for on business trips now is I put this on my nightstand, and it's got 2 USB ports on it, and I use it to charge my phone and my Apple Watch overnight, so I don't have to go fumbling and trying to find that outlet that's either under the bed or behind the night table or already being used by the hotel lamp or something like that. And even if 2 or 3 day trips, plenty of power without even having to recharge the thing. So it's probably not the intended use for it, but it's really come in handy for that for me. $100. And there's a Kickstarter version of this right now that is instead of the regular USB ports, it's USB-C ports so that you can actually use this to charge your MacBook.
Wow.
What kind of weight are we talking about, Chuck?
Boy, I want to say, I don't know, 1.5 pounds maybe.
Okay.
So it's not terrible. The new one they're coming out with is even lighter than this. But again, like I just slipped this behind my iPad in my messenger bag, and I never even noticed it's there.
Good. Okay, we have a bonus pick. Anybody else want to do a bonus pick for any reason?
I think we're good.
Okay. All right, just checking. Guys, thank you. You didn't disappoint. Unusual picks, practical picks, varied picks. Good job. So let's go around and let people know where they can find and follow you when you're not here, sharing your wisdom and your products and your predilections. Chuck, where should we send people?
Well, the easiest thing to do is follow me on Twitter, as I said before, at Chuck Tournous. Chuck, LATOURNOUS. I won't tease you anymore. I'm doing most of my writing for, as I said, either Macworld or the Mac Observer, and I'm trying to do more stuff that doesn't really fit in either of those places. Just kind of top of mind, shorter pieces back on randomaccess.com. 2 M's, 2 C's, 2 S's.
I was hoping you would do that. I missed that in the first part. So good. It's great to have you. Thanks for being here. Happy holidays.
Thanks. Same to you, Chuck.
David?
Yes, you can find me at my Apple User Group website, myscau.org, as well as you can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is DaveG65.
Excellent. Thank you for being here, and also happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you, and thank you for having me.
And now we come, I'm so tempted to do a bondage joke, and I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it there.
Hold on to the clean tag, Chuck.
Yeah, I'm trying.
So you can follow me on Twitter at Joe Kissell. That's 2 S's, 2 L's. And you can read my books and see other stuff I've written at joeontech.net. Again, as a reminder, don't go to the .com. joeontech.com has stuff that is, shall we say, not family friendly. joeontech.net or takecontrolbooks.com.
And of course, if you want to see more of Joe, he's a pretty regular guest here on Mac Voices talking about everything he's written. So, Joe,
Yes.
it's absolutely always a pleasure. I hope to be talking before the holidays, but just in case, have a great holiday.
Thank you very much.
Folks, we'll be back with more on Mac Voices. Whether we can sneak in one, maybe two more gift guides, I'm not sure, but we're going to do our best because, again, you always need that one more gift idea for that special someone. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes, links to subscribe, and to connect with Chuck on Twitter, Google+, Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo, SoundCloud, the Mac Voices blog, the Mac Voices Dispatch, our weekly newsletter, and on Mac Voices magazine, free on Flipboard that helps you do more with your Apple tech. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.